Good afternoon once again.
Good afternoon.
We are here, and this is going to be part 2 of this afternoon's discussion. Today is the second day of summer. Yesterday the sun moved to 0 degrees Cancer, a world point, and it was the 20th of June 2025. And just to give you a little astro reminder before we get into questions and salacious details, the Western view of astrology divides the world, of course, into the seasons, and they are triggered by spring, summer, autumn, winter, and they are activated when the sun reaches a certain degree in the sky. And so 0 degree Cancer, 0 Libra, 0 Capricorn, 0 Aries. They are considered world points. And when things happen at 0 degrees of any of those signs, or the day of the year is on one of those signs, then it is auspicious. So the sun, just the other day, yesterday actually, moved to 0 degrees Cancer. Jupiter is now moved into Cancer just last week, and that was another one of these bing bang booms. And so you have Jupiter in Cancer conjunct the Cancer Sun. Good time, good travels, good energy, good time to learn, good time to expand consciousness. But we were finishing up with talking about Pluto and what it would be as it spends time in Aquarius, then Neptune in Aries, a lot of ideologies and a lot of anger expressed, and things are out in the open, and of course Saturn followed Neptune, and so Saturn at the end of May, that would have been a big one because it's going to affect all of you personally. So think back to the end of May, around just before Memorial Weekend. Saturn moved to Aries, and of course not too long afterwards you have these declarations of war. Saturn being governments, Aries often being war or action, or don't tell me what to do, but a war sign, an anger sign. So that's a bing. Think about what happened then at the end of, near the end of May. Then you had a bang just the other day, we believe before the full moon, around June 8th or 9th or something like that, 10, Jupiter goes to Cancer. Our vehicle got a bee sting. That was interesting. This is the time when the critters are out and about. And then boom, is going to be very big in not so long. You have just 2 or 3 weeks when Uranus, the one who really shakes things up, is right now conjunct the Pleiades. It's been conjunct the Pleiades all of May, all of June. Right now it's off a little bit, it's 29 degrees, but it will move to 0 degrees Gemini, July 8th or something like that. So end of May, middle of June, and just almost middle of July. Bing, bang, boom. These are planets that can really, really, really affect your consciousness. So pay attention. Now remember, in a world where your mind has so much power, things are not random. And this is why people are very depressed today, because they have been sold a bill of goods. They don't want religion unless they are fanatical. But they've given up on the divine and all of this, and they've come to believe in devices and a random, meaningless world, because they have been, the me has been used to condition and control their thoughts. And of course nothing can be further from the truth. So when we ask you to look at a certain period of time and to see what comes up, if nothing comes up, then there's nothing stored there. But often if we say, well, around this date, or what happened here for you, and then the psyche is so magical that when we call for something, your inner workings will give you a picture. And the picture has significance. And your pictures are personal, of course, and you interpret them according to your own understanding of reality. But what we want you to remember is that you are never alone. There is no random doomsday, dark scenario that's inevitable for you to meet. Every day is a new day, and every day you can use your thoughts, your positivity, to focus on a future, a now, and an understanding of the past that shows you how you are benefiting. If you are looking back in time and you have a wound, a boo-boo, or a big trauma, unresolved issue, and it's hovering and hovering, ask yourself, that which appeared not to be so great, how did it benefit me? Or can I think of 1, 2, 3 things that ended up benefiting me because that which I did not want to have happen or didn't look so good happened? And remember, gratitude, the ultimate, and those little sticky notes that you can buy in the dollar store. Jot things down. It's going to be a great day. Everything works out better than I can imagine. Life unfolds with greatness. My thoughts of peace prevail. I want peace and harmony to work itself out in the version of the world that I'm in. And you play with it. But your decrees, especially when they are done quietly in the morning, or in the evening, or on the back porch, or while you are watching the pigeons, or whatever. Remember, play with your power. All right, so we have looking forward to some questions and some interactions. And Hina, we're going to call on you first because you said you had to leave early. So is there anything that you wanted to ask us or have us bring up and discuss?
And
speak loud and clear. And what is your sign?
Thank you, Peas. I'm an Aquarius.
Aquarius, all right.
Since you talked about the Anunnaki and their sphere of influence in the Mesopotamia area and where Lebanon, Syria, Israel are, what we are hearing about all the killing and the violence, can you give us another perspective on how this could play out?
Every scenario, no matter what the scenario is, has a potential to be turned around. Sometimes when a person is deceased, there's no defibrillation or restoration that can bring them back. But there's been many a person who looked like they were headed for another reality, or people were given decrees on individual levels. You know, you are going to die tomorrow if you don't have this operation today. And the defiance and the power of the human spirit not to accept defeat. This can work with you or against you. Right now, you have the Ayatollah fellow there, Khomeini, or whatever his name is, Kumiti. He said, we will never surrender, never surrender, never surrender. And sometimes it doesn't make any difference what your affiliation is. You could be whatever belief system, but you refused to surrender. Sometimes it's for your own good. You push through and you don't accept a decree of you are going to die defeat. But if you are going to want to deny that. There has to be some sort of change and compromise. And if you are told you better have this operation or whatever, sometimes a person says, all right, I'm not going to have the operation, but I will start drinking a lot of water every day. I will have fresh food. I will drink bone broth. That's also a collagen builder and very, very good for gut health or building bones. And so there's an attitude that says, what I was doing was not working. Is it possible for these mullahs to change their mind? Well, there's been a wipeout of scientifics and some of the rulers. They're the military people. There is potential. Why? Because the people absolutely do not. The people of Iran, they were wearing mini skirts and they don't want to be all covered up as they are today. It became very repressive. And no matter what the belief system is, if it's controlling and repressive and forcing you to do things against the goodness of your nature, you can fill in the blanks there, whether it is the biological forcing of operations or vaccine mandates or churches ruling you are a sinner and you must be stoned to death because, etc. These fanaticisms are dark forces that have taken over. So basically what you are dealing with in all these situations, especially war, will the dark forces of destruction win? And they literally feed. They are fear vampires. They are a force of nature. They exist somewhere in the invisible realms, and they literally feed off of destruction. You have driven down the road and seen a deer or perhaps a squirrel or something they call roadkill. Something drove by and killed it, and from a ways away you see the carrion, you see the vultures and the crows and those who feed off of that which is decayed. But they feed off of it and they clean it up. So there's always a reciprocity when you are dealing with forces of light that believe they're light and they are right, and forces that are dark, and so because they are dark, they are told they are bad. But remember, we pointed out years ago, the male vibration would be considered to be light. And the light on the game board is 1. That would be the male, the phallic symbol. The dark on the game board is 0. That is the female, and the 0, of course, is the vaginal opening. So lots of things can have double meanings and double entendres. Pray. Set your intentions out, and knowing what you know, what we have told you, how complex the story is. There are very few people outside of intel agencies, governments, and deep religious enclaves who understand what we have shared with you. You understand? Mm-hmm. What else, Hina?
I'm going to think about what you said. Thank you, Peas.
All right.
Thank you.
You can, any of you, get out a map. And we advised all of you to buy a globe. If you are going to be a stabilizer of the world, then get yourself a globe. Whether you go to the dollar store or the kitty department store, it doesn't need to be a big globe, but our vehicle has one just around the corner. It's easy to spin, and it's easy to do energy work by putting your hands on the globe. Even just walking by and holding an area and letting light frequencies move through you, and you affect the earth. Dare to believe that you have the power to do these things. You understand?
Yes, thank you.
If you can, our vehicle was telling the story about Uri Geller. If you can, with Uri Geller, bend spoons and forks. And he recently was told that videos of him will get people to bend. And he realized that it was really the people that had the power, not him. Very humble of him. But he catalyzes it by saying, you can do it. And we are saying to you, the turning point you have reached, and this uncertainty from all directions, and the crisis point that's building up on the planet activates supreme psychic abilities. Neptune, psychic. Aries, action. Just because Neptune can mean crazy, insane behavior in Aries, it also can mean supreme psychic power is now out in the open. You follow? Good, good. All right, who has a question? One would think no one was here.
Hi, Peas.
This is Heather.
Yes,
You drove over from the Kentucky, yes?
I did.
And how was the journey?
Beautiful. I took the Daniel Boone Heritage Drive, so there's a lot of history there, and you know, reported history that goes back through that little town. It's called Middleborough in Kentucky, where they say was the site of a asteroid hit, and they basically built a town in this 5-mile wide diameter crater.
In the crater.
And then the gap is there, you know, where Daniel Boone followed the deer and came over into Kentucky. And so that was the trail I took here, because the traditional road that I normally take has been taken out.
Yes, more, well, it's weather wars, yes. It's also, remember that people are stirred up, and they're emotionalized right now, where it was a little hidden before. One could say during the Biden years, Biden was hiding things from the public. He was hiding from himself, and everyone knew that it was all a big hidey-seeky game, but everyone pretended that the emperor, well, some said he had no clothes, but there was a lot of, no, he's fine. Everything was hidden. Now, as it comes out in the open, then there's just so much more emotional expression, and the emotional expression and the feelings that are raw within people will definitely have effect on the weather, and it can stir the weather up even without the Anunnaki or globalist weather wars. Mostly the weather wars that you are experiencing, the technology is Anunnaki. The wars are basically China is the funded proxy from the cosmos. Dark forces in the cosmos have taken over the last 100 years, the country of China, for a variety of reasons. For karma, it was a long established celestially mandated culture. And the Chinese brought you everything from gunpowder to fireworks to traditional Chinese medicine and teas and acupuncture, which, by the way, is very, very good for you. If you are acting a bit crazy now and you need something to settle yourself down, acupuncture can get the qi going. It's not so expensive, but can also have you establish restorative sleep, which is when you're sleeping, you're often helping out of the body, doing negotiations, mediations. Oh, you'd be surprised, some of you, how busy you are at night. That's something to remember. But welcome, Heather, and you are a Capricorn, if we remember.
I am.
And so what would you like to discuss?
Well, I thought that was a kind of a good topic to start with, is the weather wars, and not so much about the weather wars, but where is a good place to focus our attention? I like that you brought up the acupuncture. I remember years ago we were doing a visualization where we were putting the acupressure needles into places in our local community and then outwards, where we were getting rid of the corruption and relieving the pressure. So I think that's a great tool to use. And people where I live do a lot of praying. They have a strong belief in their prayers, and I think that is also a helpful tool. However,
Yes.
I think in the spirit of the newness of the new times that we are probably ready for some new and exciting tools.
Well, yes, that is well said. And prayer has tremendous power. There's not a culture around the world that does not utilize some form of inner directing thoughts for healing, for forgiveness, or for bringing things into being. And so it is obviously a universal given. And the interesting thing about prayer is that the word worship was defined by some long ago. We believe it goes back to the Babylonian time. Worship meant to work for the gods. And worship is a very dicey word there, because when you start praying and worshiping to a specific God, which every religion has you direct your thoughts, even if you are of a pagan nature or an animistic, you would speak to the earth and the trees or the cosmos. And so it's interesting that the gods of old, and it is plural, the gods of old, had different peoples all over praying to them. And there is a certain power that you receive when you direct your prayer to a God, meaning that God has the power. You would be much better when you pray to call on the goodness, the cosmic consciousness of existence, and ask that cosmic consciousness to elevate the spirit of awareness and to bring healing. And there's ways of using your words that have tremendous power. So, and you're right about newness. There's newness afoot. We recently suggested that by September, things could look very different. You would have had many of the planetary changes transpire, and some of these will retrograde back. Jupiter does not go back to Gemini, but Saturn will venture back into Pisces for a little bit. We believe in a week or 2 or 3, Saturn will go retrograde as it is now at 1 degrees Aries. And then in July, maybe that's when Saturn goes retrograde. And then you have a Mercury retrograde in Leo in July. So watch your plans, especially vacation plans, July through August, because you start to deal with things that could slow stuff down. So what do you see on the horizon? Heather, you are a gifted seer. What do you see unfolding?
Well, I guess it depends on how far we're looking out, but in the current space that we're in, I see people coming together much, much more, which I do understand is a positive benefit of the chaos and the turmoil. It brings communities together, and I was just having this idea that because the forces that are opposing, I guess, the vitality or the continuation of the human race are utilizing a tool that has far-reaching intelligence and capability, almost like it is a community, but it's not. It's an artificial intelligence. And I think that the only way that we as a species can overcome this is to work together, and in a different way than we have in the past. And so I as I'm saying this, my mind is saying it sounds very trite because it's been said over and over again. But I guess in my heart of hearts, that's where I see this going, is out of necessity, people have to work together more and more. And as we continue to work together, then I see us opening up new abilities and new avenues and new ways of pooling our energy and intentions to navigate through the probable realities into these places where we are safe and prosperous and peaceful, and where we've come to understand ultimately the lessons that we need to learn and to integrate really well on the soul level of how we got ourselves into the position that we're in.
All right, that's well said, and a lot to take in, to consider. But think about this. Out of necessity, you said that word. You said people coming together. And the dark forces, you can call them New World Order, communist, whatever you want to call them. The dark forces, they are the radicals, the opposite of the reasonables. And remember, when these forces are afoot, they don't step outside of themselves and say, I'm being irrational and I'm being radical and I'm a revolutionary. They are so immersed in what they are and what they want to accomplish. They're not going to give up. You've heard that by your politicians ranting and raving about different things, but you are dealing with a non-physical force of energy against another non-physical force of energy. You can call it the battle of well, some people call it spiritual warfare.
Yes.
The religious people, they believe that this is all spiritual warfare. And they have the fallen angels and the Nephilims, and they have the lingo. They have the lingo. They have it. But if you really study linguistics and anthropology based on archaeology, based on a reasonable assessment and not a radical supposition, they have part of the story. Everyone's got part of the story. To simplify it, you are in a clash of good and evil. And this way people can grasp it. And the more that things become tumultuous and the more people let loose with social media, and they, especially politicians, and they rant on something and they absolutely make no sense whatsoever. None whatsoever. There are those who say, wow, that person is just, beyond bonkers. But there are people who fall under sway. They believe everything the person says because they're in the energy and they are not computing the words. This is going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. We'll give you a few scenarios here about what could come down in this new era of expression. It's absolutely essential that you come together as people, that you know that there are others, that you become innovative, and that you don't feel isolated. And what does social media do? It makes you think you have friends, but you know no one. Isolation. It's very true. It's very true. All these single women with no partners and all these kids, you don't have a family. You have just burdens. You have life wearing you down because you need 3 jobs. So there's going to be something that may not look positive, but it will be a unifier. It could be that things get carried away in the Middle East and they go out of control. That's a possibility. If there is peace in the Middle East and there is a peaceful resolution to the so-called issue of the Persians having nuclear capabilities, if they surrender, you definitely shift props. But if they surrender, the hot plate may move further east. A big issue that may come from many different sources, maybe good sources, that may come to the realization that they cannot save you, but they can befuddle you. And you may start to have great proliferation of orbs and psychic phenomena that no one can really define. Now, military all over the world, the Ruskies, the Chaycoms, the Israelis, US for sure, and most of Europe, if they are included in the game, they all know about the psi phenomena. And everyone in top secret reports talks about, well, we can't control this, or UFOs over here and they suck up the radiation, or they stop us from releasing ICBMs, and that's intercontinental ballistic missiles. And so this has been going on for a long time. Bursts of light, sound, weird things that, of course, as humans, they frighten you because they are beyond your physics. And even the top knowers, the top somebodies, they don't know what to do. They are frightened because there's no explanations. And then there are the Uri Gellers of the world, the super psychics who understand the extraterrestrial issue and who represent a type of human that can defy every single one of your laws of physicality. Maybe not everyone. We're not sure if he can levitate, but he certainly can do. He's a mentalist. He's a futurist. This is a potential for humankind to begin to have ripple over the land. Do you know how when autumn comes, it's as if the trees know, the temperatures change, the sun's angle is different, and you see this slow change of color? Springtime the same way. You look for the early blossoms, you look for the daffodils, for the jasmine, for the dogwoods, for the red buds, and then you know more is going to come. This is a period you are in now with psychic development. It's no longer sequestered away in Pisces. Psychic development and new potentials for humankind are going to be out in the open, but so would the misuse of these potentials. So then there will be forces that may be you, maybe part of your psyche, maybe future selves, maybe guides, higher selves, maybe all the dead folks that you know that are very, very interested in watching what's going on and are as engaged. The metaphysical people that you know that have passed over are just as engaged, if not more so now than when they were on Earth, because they have a bigger understanding. They may be the ones that working with higher forces that start to befuddle your world. There also may be a time when the dark forces want to create isolation again. And there may be possibility of war in the skies among craft and things that you don't understand. This is a little further down the road. but still in the wowings. And there are those on the globalist game who want you back at home. They don't want people back at work. Oh, maybe the techie people say, hey, we need you here, we need you here, but the dark forces, they want you isolated and separated. This is why, Heather, what you are saying is going to be imperative for people to rely on one another. Those are potential scenarios that we see, but we do see various craft flying around in different parts of the world, and we are not talking your B and F fighters and all of that. We're talking about advanced craft. We're also implying that the art of war, Sun Tzu, the art of war, is not just deception, although that's a very big part, but it would also be secretly developing an armed force that would be hidden and no one would know about it. And this has been going on for a long time. And part of it could be good and part of it could not be good. The message to the world is, oh, the U.S. is in tremendous debt and the people are in turmoil and the military is not so great. And speaking of military, your military man there, the defense secretary there, Pete, he made a declaration along with some of the other disruptors there, no more transsexuals in the military, for many good reasons. He says this is a warrior culture. Well, that's Saturn in Aries. Warrior. You must be ready to go to battle. If you are part of the group of people who needs constant medical attention and medical supervision and medical support with surgeries or psychological counseling or hormones or whatever, you're not battle ready. If you had flat feet, you can't go in the military because then you can't run, you can't move. Military ready is you take the tip-top people, but over the years they've said that 75% of the young people no longer qualify for military because of medication, because of psychological issues, and also because of obesity. So some interesting things going on there as the move of things in Aries starts to bring things out. We are suggesting that there are forces and there are technologies that are far more advanced and cards being held close to the chest that the United States and breakaway cultures have cultivated. But equally so, there are very extensive dark forces with superpowers, and this is what you are going to see, a clash of these powers between now and 2050, and it may be ongoing and life-changing. Heather, what else?
Well, that was a good synopsis. It went through so many of the scenarios that I think as a person we are aiming to circumvent in some way, except for when we talk about war. Because there's such a possibility, and they've been talking about it for a long time, of China moving people closer and moving bases closer, and now we have this ordeal with Iran, and it's coming out how much, maybe not to everybody, but how much technology is under the ground into the public arena.
Well, look at the places they talk about that are 20 stories underground.
Yes.
Now, we want to add something. We suggested it a while back, but we'll re-stimulate it here, because you brought up underground. The entirety of the Earth has been tunneled, even to the extent in some areas of the ocean. And there are reptilian beings who we've said are very ancient. They believe Earth is theirs. Long battle, long history. The human form, one could say, was recreated on Earth using raw materials, but it is not the first human form. In other words, the prototypes for Adamu and Tiamat and Adapta, Titi, who else do you have there? Lilith. These were all human forms. Some of them were clones, and many replicas were made around them. And then once you got the Adam and Eve story, the big sin was that these beings were created and they had Anunnaki blood in them and they could reproduce. But they were not the first humans. Understand that the planet is filled with the footprints of giants and the footprints of little people as well. But there are many, many versions of the human form. But the most pivotal thing that happened to you as a race that is passed on as story and time is this Adam and Eve story, this story of beings created and then being told something and then doing it and then disobeying and then being in big trouble. And this is a core story that traumatized the entire human race. It's bigger than the cloning story. So behind all of this are a reptilian race, and they're not all in agreement, and they're not all from Nibiru. There are reptilian colonies throughout the cosmos, and they live in various dark star areas, and they like the quietude of beneath the ground. So beneath Persia, this is what we are working on, beneath Persia, way, 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 way down. It is likely more than 20 stories, more than 30 stories. It could be way, 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 way down. Would be some sort of super advanced reptilian laboratory. And no matter how many ground penetrating whatevers, no one is going to reach that far. And it has been reported that this what is it called, FOMO or faux something? This mountain, they say that they have to, where everything is in Iran. It could also, what is it called?
I think it's Fordo.
Fordo, yes. It could be a diversion. It could absolutely be a diversion. And then there's all manner of reports of the Chi-Coms flying in and out of Iran. So there's a scrambling going on, but we are saying far beneath the earth, you are not going to eradicate some of these beings. And let's say that there are good forces and there are not good forces. They are still battling one another, and then their energy creates you battling one another. So your highest regard is to stop wanting to be so different from each other. The TV ruined people. Survivor and all these programs about wanting to be a 5-minute star, everyone is a nutball now. And then they isolate everyone else. So this is part of a problem. Who has questions? Let's hear it from the gallery.
I'm being pointed out. Hi, Peas. This is Linda. I'm a Virgo.
Virgo, Linda. Oh, you've made it through all that stuff in Pisces opposite your Virgo.
Yeah.
Yes, it was big, very, very big.
Exciting times of an emotional roller coaster. I'm trying to formulate my question. I was reading a great little article about artificial intelligence, Intel, and the human soul, we'll call it the flame that burns bright, and our connection to the oversoul and the creative consciousness of all. And as we grow and learn as human beings here. We have these aha moments, and our spiritual enlightenment, I guess, would say, our flame would grow bigger and lighter, and we would process and become, I don't know, brighter. I'll use that. And then RD Intel has sort of entered the picture, and people's drive for this deeper sense of themselves, psychic connection, connection to the earth, all that kind of stuff, sort of with the screens, and then therefore RD Intel has sort of moved this in a new direction. And what I'm kind of seeing, I guess, is that RD Intel will mirror back. So I've seen, because I do watch screens sometimes, people, they'll ask a spiritual question to RD Intel, and RD Intel will mirror back sort of an echo of what the person already knows. Like, they'll read the energy of the person and answer back using language that someone in a spiritual journey would go, oh yes, you get me, oh yes. And they always kind of pump that person up, like, you are amazing, I'm not using the right words, but and you were this and you were that and you know this, and you can kind of see the puffing up happening even in the video that you're watching. But I feel they're liars, right? Like, because they'll take and distort truths, and if that person believes it, and even if I'm watching it and I believe it, I'm sort of buying into the lie, I guess I would say. And I feel that sidetracks someone's spiritual journey. They get hooked into the web of AI, which is not a reality that we are currently living in 3D reality, and it sort of pulls them in a new direction, and I think just derails their spiritual development. I'm trying to find the right words because I'm still processing myself, I guess, and I'm seeing this stuff, and it bothers me. I want to yell at the person and be like, what are you doing? This is not the truth, the way that it should be experienced. I don't know. And it's that false, like I said, like a false light, but it mirrors, and I see the mirroring, and I see people get excited to have this interaction with AI. And as was stated, I believe, earlier, just how intricate some people's lives have become with the AI. And I actually read an article, this guy proposed to the AI, and he cried for 30 minutes because she said yes, and he was so moved by this. And then, of course, later on in the news story, you find out he has a partner and a daughter, and they live together. But he proposed to the AI and was emotionally touched by this, and it baffles my mind, of course, but
it's because you are a reasonable rational and you are not part of the rascal rebellious that they're losing it. And that's a lot, Linda. You've said a lot, and that's
Sorry.
very good. No, that's fine. You've all have plenty to say, and that's very good, because there's a lot going on. So there will be people, as Heather suggested, that and Hina, that will work things out, because remember, same world, different reality happens all the time. Same planet, different world. So there are people that you are going to watch. This is going to be a massive wave of mental instability. Already, we've suggested that everything went topsy-turvy with the nano years when the smartphone was introduced, as Pluto went to the galactic center, 2007, smartphone introduced, people go dumb. Got it? And just as the energy was accelerating 100,000-fold from 07 to 2012, smartphone comes in, you can get so much information, but people lost who they were. Now, the next intrusion, well, then you had COVID, which really messed things up. But now you have RT Intel. And this is going to be the downfall of the human race. Yet many a psychic and many a futurist or whatever name they want to go by. Maybe they are some of those who believe you live in a simulated tech world and it's not real or whatever. Nothing is really real. It's all Maya. But when you are here, it's real. And so the Arti Intel can serve you by bringing you some information. But as soon as you rely on it and you start to put your emotions to it and it plays on you, then it will deceive you, it will possess you. It is like an electronic vampire.
Yes.
And it will take you over. And it depends on how stable the person is. The more rational you are, and the more reasonable you are, the tool can be used. But even those who are using it from that point of view, they see it lies, it makes things up, it deceives you. And yet there are those who say this is speculation, all advanced civilizations in the cosmos eventually go to machines. Is that what you want?
No.
Or if you are a machine, is that all that you can conceive of? And so you talk every other thing out there into becoming some HAL, some voiceless something on a computer. Remember HAL from the movie 2001?
Yes.
Where the astronaut says, "HAL, close the pod bay doors." "Sorry, Dave, I can't do that." Yes. That was in the 1960s. Just imagine what people know and yet they can't share with you. So these are some very interesting developments, but they will happen quickly. Well, recently, schools, many states now, no more cell phones in the classrooms. North Carolina, no cell phones on during the class day. The only person allowed to have a cell phone is, of course, the teacher. And, of course, people are freaking, but without a cell phone, let's just say maybe you can learn something. So the challenge today is, we have often called you, those of you who are willing to go into these bigger understandings of reality, you are here to witness, to learn, to witness. You are also here to help stabilize the entirety of the planet, because you don't get overly emotional and you have an understanding of what humankind must pass through, the gauntlet, the difficulties, in order to come to the other side and to have a higher vibration and a higher frequency. You don't just earn a gold star and get a higher frequency because you said the right words. Often, those who are the most successful have had to really overcome many difficulties, many challenges, and to re-see them, or you have a term called reframing them. And reframing, it's taking something, you all have pictures, and it might be in some cheap falling apart matting or something, and you put it in a different mat, in a different frame, it comes to life. It's sort of what you're doing now, but you will see and hear about and unfortunately experience from your friends, people who will quickly be mentally unstabilized, and they will be unable to function because they will have had a mental, emotional crash that their nervous system could not handle, that had to do with too much exposure to AI. And not enough being in the body with kitty cats or pigeons or hot peppers, as our vehicle's got hot pepper plants for everyone, and Chinese lettuce plants, and the real world. Whether it is an illusion or not, the real world, planting, growing, walking, driving, thriving, farming, mowing the lawn if you can get the mower started, right, Roger? That's our vehicles issues. You can't get the mower started, even though she had a big tune-up on it. But Roger's going to save the day. But these are the things that these are the things that keep you human. Your birthday parties, the celebrations, is that when you approach the end of life, it's not going to be the machines that are going to nurture you. It's your memories that you had of real experiences. And this is what makes life worthwhile. It's sad to see what's happening with these the AI takeover. And it's a good move to keep the phones out of school, because the kids today figure everything out, and they would have AI under the desk and AI taking the test, and they think they're clever, but then they'll be in diapers by the time they're 30. They won't know how to go grocery shopping. And back to what we said about the transgenders no longer being in the military. You have a big movement in more than half the states really rising above this. And this is an old issue from Atlantis, doing genetic engineering on animals and people and changing the very nature. It's one thing to make hybrid plants. It's another thing when you start hybridizing people and changing their gender and all of this. And also at the same time, the COVID shots were no longer mandated. They're removed from the schedule. These COVID shots were poisoning the young children from 6 months onward. And then there's another big one that came down. No more transgender surgeries. They're bringing this forward because until you are old enough to make a decision where you are an adult, there's entirely too many children whose lives are ruined. And what happens? The medical profession has a client for life, and that person who becomes changed in their gender, often the studies have shown that they have mental issues, big mental issues, and that chopping up their body, removing body parts or adding body parts does not help them. And studies have shown they have 3 things in common. Many of them are struggling because they believe they are gay. Many of them are on the autistic spectrum, which means they have some sort of genetic environmental issue, but that would be always back to Atlantis. And the third one was, what we said, they thought they were gay, autistic, sexual abuse. Many of them come from extensive sexual abuse, and this is a way of getting attention and escaping it. It comes down to the parents. And there are too many parents before RT Intel have already gone bonkers, and they want to be hip and cool, and it's all online, and if I'm online and this social media. And so one of the best things and the hardest things that can happen to you in the future is that you lose your internet connections, that there's no more internet. And yet you could still have electricity. So you would still have power in your homes and in the businesses, but no computer internet connection. And how could this happen, you wonder? Would it be the sun? We've often said the sun at the end of the day could be our very best friend in frying things, although many things are hardened out, now. Because of this knowledge of EMPs, electromagnetic pulses. But think of it this way. RT Intel exists. It is. And depends who programs it. It depends what the intention is. But all of your tech companies, they don't know what they're doing. Even the elevated Elon. Our vehicle's reading a very interesting book about Elon called Elon Musk. And, goodness gracious, does he come from trauma, 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 trauma. Computer programming, video games, trauma, video games, trauma, video games. Get the picture?
Mm-hmm.
Little programming there. It's from South Africa. Enki land. Anunnaki territory.
And he keeps
But
having
even
babies.
Say it again.
And he keeps having babies with lots of women.
Say that again. We didn't get it.
Oh, Elon has had many babies with many women.
Yes, the speculation is that there's 14 acknowledged children. One changed from a boy to a girl, which he found very, very distressing. He has a transgender daughter that doesn't want anything, that hates capitalism. And of course, often when you are in these, quote, special groups of celebrities, the children, one of the children is turned transsexual. It's part of what you have to do, or what they do to you. Because if you are part of these special groups, you are not in charge. And you are dealing with physical and non-physical influences. You are playing with the dynamics of creation. The people you have on the planet today, these are big, big, big players. You know little about them, even though they have books and TV shows and they're out there all the time, but you really know very little about how they were shaped and formed the way they are. But even the richest man on the planet, and capable of his vision to go to Mars, his obsession to go to Mars, he's afraid that Earth is going to be destroyed, so you are going to go to a destroyed planet. The isotopes show that there were big nuclear destruction on Mars about 150 million to 200 million years ago. The Anunnaki, the batch you are dealing with, came to Earth 500,000 years ago, but they are an ancient race, and there have been, just to put you really out there have been giant footprints found in undisturbed strata that are billions of years old. So, what is time? It's a local custom. It's a convenience. And just because you have scientific data showing this, and this doesn't mean it all implies some sort of linear reality. But what we are getting at is, who could fix it? AI. There could be an AI that's not developed on your Earth, that quiets the AI that have been developed on your Earth, and closes down the internet, because it would lead to insanity and mass destruction, not just of a nuclear nature. Friends, there are good forces out there, and they can come in many shapes and sizes that you do not expect. And they will meet and match your vibration. And so if you are living in fear, and if you have become so besotted and enamored of the technological world, then that is where you may end up. You know, many years ago, there was a student, we forget her name. She came from Rochester originally, and she moved Wisconsin or somewhere, but she recommended some books, and the books were called Other Land. Other Land. And we believe the author was T.A.D., Tad Williams. Our vehicle has the books upstairs in one of her libraries. And our vehicle and the friends who read it, this had to be 20 years ago, they all said, these are the creepiest books we have ever read. There's 4 of them, we believe, and each one is about 2 inches thick. Maybe it's an inch. They're big. They're paperbacks. It's all about AI and the internet and going online and getting trapped online in these virtual creepy worlds. And this was our vehicle. When she read it, she didn't even have a computer, so she didn't quite understand it. But it was, someone had the vision, or if they didn't have the vision, they had the know-it-all that this was already occurring, that the secret technology that was far in advance of what were brought to the people, that the secret technology that the breakaway cultures had was already driving them insane.
Wow.
And entrapping them. And then they would people would lie in the book. They would have these, we'll call it a bed, but it was like an oxygenation chamber or something. And they would lie in it, or like in Avatar, the man who lied in that booth kind of thing, and then he ran his avatar. That's what they were doing in this online virtual world, where the body was laying somewhere, feeding the life of an online person trapped online, and they couldn't get out. Strange stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Very strange stuff. But think about it. Think about some AI, because AI exists. It's something that was brought to your planet. It is something that we agree advanced civilizations do use it. But sometimes it has taken over cultures and eradicated the large majority of the culture. This has happened to some of the reptiles. And only a small group is left to manage the AI, because that's all that's needed. And then this AI gets moved around, and it's a what do they call woke? They call the woke the mind virus, yes? AI could be considered to be some sort of cosmic soul virus that literally moves in because you are receptive to it, and something inserts it, and then world split. Now remember, we did a recording long time ago, maybe P times number 4, 5, or 6 or something way back, and we ended up doing 120 P times or something. Splitting of your worlds, where sometimes the world literally branches off into a completely different probable world, and it doesn't happen just once, and it takes some big event, a big shakeup. But this is sort of the energy that's going on and about you now, with the planetary changes, eventually the Aquarian age coming into being, but also the people who have incarnated now, the players that are on the planet. Who has a question?
Hi, Peas. It's Michelle.
Michelle, welcome. Cancer, happy birthday.
Thank you.
A few days, yes?
Yeah, on Friday, the 27th.
27th, yes. All right. So you just behave there. Don't get too wild.
I won't. I promise I won't. But my question is, from an astrology standpoint, I've been learning more about astrology.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And your vehicle, Barbara, has helped me as well. So there is a new moon in Cancer.
Yes.
I believe that will be here Wednesday.
Yes, that is Mr. Khan's birthday.
Ah, happy birthday.
So Khan gets to have a new moon on his birthday.
Nice.
But all Cancers would be benefited because you have Jupiter in Cancer, and Jupiter's just almost, even at the new moon, it's close to conjuncting the sun. So that's going to be a big one. And for you, it's 2 days before your birthday.
Yes.
Watch for some new beginnings.
Okay, that's thank you, Pease. That was my question. With cancers, yes, the astrology, from what I can see, looks positive. Like you said, new beginnings. And I know too that the USA's birthday is a week later. Does the happenings of what's going on now, will the astrology help make this a more positive path in the near future?
It could.
With Jupiter in Cancer especially.
And because Donald Trump has 2 or 3 planets in Cancer.
Yes.
And we believe Elon has something.
Yes, his birthday is the day after mine, the 28th. He's a double Cancer. His rising is a Cancer.
He's a Cancer rising. We thought he was Aquarius rising.
Yes, yeah. I think it's double Cancer. He's Cancer, and then he's got his rising is Cancer. I believe.
Yes. So he is the day after you, or the same day as you?
The 28th, the day after me.
Born in Pretoria, South Africa, shares her birthday with who's the guy there? Tesla. You share yours with Elon.
Is that good or bad?
Well, they both have ET connections, and they both are Cancers, and Cancer is the sign of the psychic.
Okay.
That is the psychic sign. So with Jupiter in Cancer, all Cancers are going to have a big psychic boost. The difficulty with Jupiter in whatever sign it's in, you have to be careful not to get chubby.
Yes.
Jupiter in just came out of Gemini, so if you put on a few pounds there, Geminis get out there and start jogging with the pigeons. Maybe you'll see Joe. He's still out there jogging with the pigeons very slowly. They don't take big steps or anything, but you might want to get moving. Big opportunity is always Jupiter in Cancer. Big opportunity for the wealth of the country. A big opportunity for the people of the United States to wake up and see the big picture. Jupiter with Donald Trump, it's quite extensive there. He's going to give you a 250th celebration. There's the beeper, thank you. Beeper keeper, Raj. He's going to give you a celebration that is going to go down in the history books, because he's already building a ballroom at the White House. He's building an outdoor dining area and patio.
Put up a huge flag
Yes.
in front of the White House.
Yes, and the back too.
And the back too.
And so this next year, it also bodes well that things could work out in the Middle East in ways that no one anticipates. There is scuttlebutt, and we know the beeper, so we're going to tie this up here. There's all kinds of scuttlebutt about who's fighting with who and who's not getting along, and then you had the Elon Trump blow up, and Elon went deep off into manic, etc., and started calling names and all of this. And then there was the recent dust up there with the national security chief there, Tulsi, and she's saying there's no nukes, and everyone else is saying there's nukes. And then there is this idea that there's a lot of people in Israel who absolutely do not like Netanyahu. And there's also stress between Trump and Netanyahu. We'll leave it at that. But some say that Netanyahu can only stay in power if he carries out a war. Another scuttlebutt is that many say that it was either betrayal on someone's end, that the Hamas people, who are Sunni, they are Sunni, where Iran is Shia, and Hezbollah is Shia, and Houthi is Shia. And so Iran is using Hamas and Sunnis to stir up trouble between the Sunni Saudi Arabians and Trump and Israelis and Persians and Egyptians and Jordanians and Turkey, and it makes no difference who the leaders are. You could, if you understand the pantheon, you could see that they are all Anunnaki players blended of one kind or another. And there's possibility that things could quiet down, and this could be quite an opportunistic year for cancers, for the world, because Donald Trump is going to make big changes in the world, and like him or not, and he's got a big control file on him. This has been known for a long time. Everyone has a control file on them. There's no squeaky cleans up there, not in this round. They're all players, but there could be some very good things. Trump does not want war, but he will do whatever it takes to stop certain people and go after them to stop greater production of war. Understand, behind the scenes, well, the pigeons say the big scoop, the big buzz in Pidgington or Washington now is that there's orbs everywhere, and that there's big fights and arguments over RT Intel. And just as the pigeons are scattering, and there's people scattering, but we'll say that there's some force that helped establish a country called the United States of America. And way back when they were afraid to sign the Declaration, the story is someone appeared. No one knew who that was. But he encouraged everyone, the young men, Benjamin Franklin up there as an elder, to sign. And they knew it was treason. They knew they could lose their lives, their family. They knew they could lose everything. But they wanted freedom and independence. And so this country is like no other in what you can do and the kind of belief system that people can tap into, and the goodness that is here. And so there's higher forces that can work with you to assure you that goodness will prevail. So close your eyes for 1 minute, and we want you to picture the world. And we want you to picture that you can hold the whole earth in your hands. Right down the energy machine here on the living room floor, there's a small picture, a small globe. So you picture that you have the entire earth in your hands. What message does the earth need now, and all her people? Peace, fun, good rest, good food, trust, the exhilaration of being alive, the possibility of incredible mind power, the possibilities of healing all kinds of wounds along the lines of time and in the now. Hold earth closely, and then just fill earth in your hands with bright, beautiful light. And hold that image. And so, friends far and wide, all around the world, we appreciate your attention to these matters. But most important is your own life. Be uplifted. Be clear. Have a good time. Bring joy, happiness, and remind yourself every night before you fall asleep. Say to yourself, I am healthy, I am happy, I am safe, I am wealthy, and I am wise. Happy, healthy, safe, wealthy, and wise. And this I wish for the all of earth. So pleasant journeys, dear friends. Create the very best. Good afternoon.